welcome back to another video about the Reaver's Return raid series. This time I'm hitting the 105 in Storm Runner and demonstrating the target, what to do, what not to do, and all the mistakes that I usually make so that you can avoid doing them in the December Hull Store raid and maximise the points that you receive. First mistake, wrong crew on the fleet. Bullseye Brigade is not the crew for a blind fire missile, a blind fire torpedo like the Fire Twister. I should be using one of the crews that give splash radius. That way, when I'm firing at the Black Hades ships, then the splash will be affecting the thermal scouts as well. So I'm after the bonus ships, the ones with the little flags on the top. I'm rushing across to the right hand side, and while I'm doing so, notice the range circles on my subs. They are not overlapping. There is some lag somewhere that is causing the server to receive my instructions and relay the movements back at a different time for each of the subs. They should be together, and this is the angle that you should approach the thermals, and I'm going to demonstrate this one to show I can do it, and I can do it without taking any damage. You want the outline of your range circle just touching the outline of the target. So now I've got to rush off to the edge of the map while I surface, and then I'll take that first flagged bonus ship. Now those three bonus ships in a 105 are worth somewhere in the region of about 400,000 points if you hit them. So about 133,000 points for each of those ships. And watch this. I edged forward a fraction, clicked the mouse, immediately tapped the down key to stop the subs, but they overshot. Again, this is showing a connectivity issue between my computer and the server, and there's such a fine tolerance between the range of the Fire Twisters at 88 and the thermal on the Reaver Scouts at what must be 85. You just cannot afford those what seem to be tiny little mistakes, but they are huge. Now that was a big mistake. Yeah, and I've watched and watched that one, and I still don't understand why my subs turned to the left instead of turning to the right based on where I'd clicked the mouse. But they turned left, they went into the oil, they swung wide, and they came immediately into range of that Reaver Scout, and of course he slapped me. So that was a driving error. I should have somehow got the subs to begin turning right before I told them to zoom down the map away from the approaching ships. And we're going across to attack the convoy from the other side now, because I've lost at least one of the bonus ships. We'll just get rid of this Hades and try and shorten the convoy. Now I want you to take a note. If I say shorten the convoy, I mean the distance between the first and last ship. If I say narrow the convoy or make the convoy thinner, I mean taking ships off from the sides of the convoy because they're too far out from the centre line of it. Now look at all those drones hovering around. I'm going to explain the drones to you. They do have a pattern of movement, and it's important to understand it. So I'm just going to pause the video here, and if you look at the groups of drones, you see I've identified the two Hulks with their 4 close escort Hades, and I've identified the drones in 5 groups and how many drones are in each group. Now it's important to know which ones come from which Hulk and the route they take. So there I'm showing group 3 and group 4, which is a total of 7 drones coming from the Hulk at the front of the convoy. I've actually got this back to front, and I apologise. These two groups come from the Hulk at the back of the convoy, the one showing in the middle of the screen right now. And they operate in an oval movement. It's actually a bigger oval than I've drawn on screen, but that's just to show you the direction that they're travelling in. And once you take out the Hulk at the front of the convoy, only those two groups will be left. Now these three belong to the other Hulk, not the one that I've indicated. So these three groups come from the Hulk at the front of the convoy, not the one at the back. Again, I'm sorry, I got the graphics mixed up, and I'm showing them as three groups. Group 7, I said, had 7 drones. These two, groups 5 and 6, operate in a figure 8, and it's quite a close pattern. You'll see that as we go through the video. They're very tight and they don't deviate from this position. They belong, again, as I keep saying, to the Hulk at the front. This group 7 is actually two groups, one group of 3 and one group of 4, and again they operate in a big oval that runs from top left to bottom right, and they come from the Hulk at the front of the convoy, not from the one indicated. Now if you take out the Hulk at the front of the convoy, all of those drones that I've put a cross through are off the map and you don't have to worry about them. And again, sorry, it's not the group 1 Hulk, it's the group 2 Hulk as shown on this graphic that you have to kill to take out those groups of drones. Now you'll see, if you watch each time the drones are on the screen, you'll see those paths that I indicated and you'll see the drones following them. The figure of 8 in the middle is very obvious when you look at it now, and it's one that can give you quite a bit of bother if you don't recognize what it's doing. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to take off the close escorts close to the Hulk at the top, and we'll see some more of my common mistakes, which I've watched and watched and watched this replay so that I can avoid doing them in the December raid. So I'm just waiting for the surface timer to run out and submerge again, and I want that Hades at the front of the Hulk. You notice now that they've turned the corner, the Hades are separating a bit from the Hulk. Use that to your advantage. It's actually better to wait for the Hulk to get further to the left side of the screen, rather than trying to get it so close to the turning point on the right hand side, because that's where all the ships start to bunch up. And if you watch the Scout and its two Hulks that are just coming out of the oil at the right hand side, you'll see them gradually moving over to the left as they come into the turning point. That means that all the groups of the Scouts and Hades start to group up and bunch up, and it makes it a bit harder to take them out if you haven't thinned the convoy, made it narrower so that you've got a more of a procession of aiming towards a single line sort of layout, rather than all these bunches side by side grouping up. Now look at that angle, completely wrong. I was too worried about the Reaver Scouts below the Hulk, and I completely forgot about the one behind it, and its remote targeting got me. The Hulk spotted me, it's got longer range thermal than the Scouts. The Hulk spotted me and the Scout behind started shooting at me, but those 3 Scouts that I've just circled, I was worried about those turning and getting too close to me and becoming the remote targeters, which they would do in about 5 to 10 seconds from this point in the replay. But that one immediately behind the Hulk was the one I forgot about, and it's punished me for it. So go away, do a surface and resubmerge, and then we come in and look at the range circles again. I should have turned back, because you do not come in against groups like that while your range circles are so separate, shall we say. They must be absolutely perfectly overlapping as they are right now. And just There, that's it. That's how the range circle should be when you get to the target. This time we're going to target the Hades, not the Hulk. We'll take off some of those support ships. They do take quite a bit of killing, those Hades. They're quite tough. They seem to have more health than the scouts. Right, we got rid of the Hulk. Now, I should have just hovered around and taken that next Hades out as well, but I wanted to get away from the scout. And we'll go down now and we'll thin out the drones, and you'll see the groups that are left. There's a perfect view of the 3 paths that the 6 groups of drones take. The 2 I'm shooting at taking the figure 8, and the other 4 going down to the bottom of their ovals and turning round and coming back up. So before I start chasing the tail end Charlies on the convoy, I'm going to get rid of these drones. And who doesn't like killing drones? They're a pain in the backside. Now, if you watch the Hulk as it's disappearing off the top corner of the screen, it's not spawning any more drones. There are only those 2 groups left, and they are the only 2 groups that belong to that Hulk. If I kill that one, you can see immediately it launches another group. So there we are. We've got a group of 3 and a group of 4 belonging to that Hulk, and as the convoy's moving northeast, we can stay away from those drones, because they'll stay in their fixed orbit down at the bottom of the map. And that's good news for us, because it gives us a lot more freedom to move about higher up in the map. We'll get rid of that Hades in the lead slot, and then we'll swing round onto the other side of the convoy to the north of it, and we'll get rid of the lead Reaver Scout. Now, we don't need to worry about the Hades getting inside our range circles, because they've got no underwater weapons, and their surface weapons fire further than our torpedoes. So as long as we've got, I think for safety, at least 50% more distance than our range circle between us and a Hades when we're on the surface, then we're going to be safe. So we've got a bit of a tricky one here. If I get detected, that lead scout has got another one quite close behind him. We can't afford to get spotted, because we'll get remote targeted if we do. So I think the safest manoeuvre here would actually be to just time out and then go for the repair. But trying to rush things, I came back to try and take this scout. And you see my range circles have separated. I get remote targeted, and I take extra damage immediately before the timeout, which means that my repair is going to be more expensive. And I'm repairing on the map, so you want to be taking the minimum possible damage each time that you're leaving to do a repair, because even just an extra 10 seconds of damage could cost you an extra coin. Let's see how we did. And there you go. I'm having to use an extra coin because there's a minute 30 seconds above the 30-minute step for the first 5 coins. So taking that final hit before the timeout cost me. I should have just waited and let it time out, and the repair would have been cheaper. Normally I would have gone back to base, repaired in dock, used a Grease Monkey's crew, halved the repair time, which would have halved the coin cost, and then come back to finish the target. But there was a lot of sniping going on at the time that I recorded this battle, so I didn't want to leave the target and have it stolen, plus I was a fair distance from base. So we need to kamikaze the gunboat, get rid of him, because we only want to be controlling the subs. That remote targeting was for the gunboat, and we sneak in, get rid of that Reaver Scout, and I've moved one ship, not one sub, not all of them. So let's just get out of there. Let's group the subs up again, and we'll try that again. And I'm having real problems keeping the range circles together. Stop, shoot, kill him, get away, and he got a torpedo off. So obviously the range circle that was out of sync with the others got me spotted. See, it only takes a few pixels. There is such a fine tolerance between the range of our torpedoes and the thermal range on the Reaver Scouts that KIXEYE really need to think more about doing these types of targets. So I'm doing the stupidest of stupids now. I'm charging through the drones to get at the Hulk, and of course the Hulk's launching more drones which are coming down on their patrol route, which is exactly where I'm parked, and that's going to cause me no end of grief. So, and I've got remote spotted as well, but I want to press the attack and get rid of the Hulk. And you know, I should have just pulled away, saved the damage, repositioned, come back in, and I didn't. And this is all part of rushing to finish a target, the time pressure conscience, and it's what KIXEYE relies on. So now I've got one sub left. That was a completely stupid tactic. Should never ever do anything like that, and I won't again. So we're underwater again. Let's start thinning down these Hades. Let's get the convoy narrower, so that when it turns the corner it's not going to bunch up as much. And as I said earlier, you can have the Hades inside your range circle. It doesn't matter as long as your range circle is not touching the Reaver Scout, because that will get you spotted. So now go for that group of 3. Watch the dive timer. Let's wait for the surface and submerge, and then we'll go back in. And you see what I mean about the distance there. It's about, well, it's just over 50% more than my range circle, and the Hades can't shoot at me. And also I'm not getting remote targeted at that distance from the scouts. So this is just straightforward punishment grind. Just sit there until I've killed these Hades. And with one sub it does take a fair bit of time. I've only got 6 twisters on each sub. The other 6 torpedoes are the D63Bs, which give me a bit increased movement speed, but I'm going to be swapping them out for the Mayhem torpedoes, so that all 12 torpedoes will have the 88 range. The Mayhems of course have got a bigger splash radius than the Fire Twisters, and that will allow me to damage the Reaver Scouts while I'm killing the Hades. It'll also mean the Hades die faster, because there'll be 12 torpedoes hitting them instead of 6, and the very fact that that's happening, depending on the angle I'm attacking from, it could save me getting remote spotted and remote targeted. It could also mean that I can take the Reaver Scouts out in 2 volleys and turn away, because there's about a second and a half or possibly 2 seconds grace when you get remote spotted before the scout that's going to remote target you fires. So if you turn away and get out of spotting range, the second you see those yellow rings, you can actually get away with not being shot at. Now the convoy's getting too close to the turning point, so I'm going to go around the other side and try try and thin it down from there. And shall I go for that one at the back? That scout closest to me. And again, looks like I'm repeating the mistake. I'm coming in from the front of the scout, from ahead of it, instead of coming in from behind or the side. And even though I'm being very cautious here, if you look at the path of that scout, it's going to travel into my range circle instead of just staying on the edge of it. And there we are, remote targeted. His buddy just in front of him to the right has just told me go away. So I think we need to get rid of that Hades at the back, shorten the convoy a bit. Just wait for the dive timer again. And you can see how they bunch up as they turn that corner at the northeast. That's a very dangerous point to attack any of them. You do not want to be attacking them while they're doing that turn, because they could make a hard turn into your range circle, spot you, and then because they're all so close together, you're going to take massive fire from all of the Reaver scouts. And again, this was the point in the previous attack where I went for the lead ship, and I was worried about the ships that were still travelling northeast that were behind it, and I came in at the wrong angle. Well, it's even worse this time because I'm coming in against the Reaver scout, and I'm going to have to come in from his side, not from in front of him. So I've got to wait for him to travel across to the left a fair bit, and I really should have timed out here, saved that last little bit of health so I didn't have a full fleet repair, and again that would have saved me a coin. And I should have turned away after that second salvo of torpedoes. Even though I'm inching away, it wasn't enough and he got me. So when you see the repair time, you'll understand. Again, we're about 2.5 minutes over, or 2.5 minutes into the cost of an extra coin. If I turned away and just timed out, I could have saved that coin on the repairs. So it's not always about finishing the attack. Sometimes you just have to wait, get out of there, repair, and then come back in with full health and a greater capacity to actually finish the attack. Okay, very much smaller convoy, no drones to worry about. We want to get round the convoy and try and kill as many as possible before they reach the turning point. We've got lots of space on the right hand side of the map available to us right now. Let's make use of it. And again, we're trying to kill off the gunboat by kamikazing it in, because we only want to control the subs. And I should have stopped them there. I've gone too far forward. The range circles are not matching, and the drone, the scout in front of the one I'm attacking is too close to my range circle. I should U-turn the subs right now because my range circles are not matching, and I've been remote targeted. I'm taking damage, and not only that, but my surface timer, my submerged timer has run out, and suddenly I'm under fire from the Hades. That was a very, very expensive maneuver, and it was all my own fault, not watching what was on screen. And again, it looks like I've got the scout in the right place, but he's too far into my range circle, and he starts shooting at me. Well, let's just get rid of these Hades and narrow the convoy, get it into a much easier line up for killing them off. The smart move right now, looking at what's left on the screen, is to get that group of 3 at the front of the convoy, because the 5 ships behind it will take a lot longer to reach the corner point. And as my on-screen note says, that was a very stupid move. Submerge timer was running out. Get across to the side of the map, out of the way. Range circles. Right, now they're together. Let's try and sneak in. Can we do it? No. You see? Something wrong. Now, to me, I'm not sure if that's a communication speed issue, which I don't believe it is. I've got a 70 megabyte broadband speed. I think that's programmed in, working as intended to ensure that we take extra damage. But that's a tinfoil hat theory. And it's just so consistent, and I see it in every video. Every other player that makes videos about these targets is having the same issue. And I just can't believe that the World Wide Web is so bad that Kixeye does not make allowance for it in their programming. Therefore, it has to be deliberately programmed in. I could understand it with a full convoy and all the drones running around, but when we're down to this few ships, it shouldn't be happening. And you notice the last little move where I go in to start shooting at the scout, that's when the range circles get out of sync. As long as I'm not shooting at the scout, it was fine. And of course now one of the subs has taken damage, so it's moving faster than the other one. That's the problem with Hellwraiths. So I've just got to live with that. And yeah, look at that. You know, that Reaver scout was dead. It was underwater. It was heading for the bottom of the sea, and it still got a final shot off, which killed my most damaged sub. Now, I'm sorry, Kixeye, but that's just prejudicial programming. And you know, really, you've been going long enough and made enough money out of this game that you've got to stop that shit, because this is part of what's pissing your players off so much. And of course, all your players are your paying customers. Not all of them, but your player base is where your paying customers come from. Now, I'm going to try something a bit different here. I'm just kind of bored with this target already, so I'm going to use Apollo tactics with the Hellwraiths. Get into range, fire a shot, run away. Get into range, fire a shot, run away. And you can see it's working. It's tedious. It's a pain to play, and I'd hate to do the entire target doing this. But it is working. I'm putting down the damage without receiving any, and that's what I'm wanting to do. But of course it's taking so much longer to do the target, because I'm spending so much time out of range. And again, surface timer. I wasn't watching if I was due to surface or not. It's a mistake I keep making, and it's one that I should not be making. Can we finish this lead scout? I think that's him gone. Yeah. Is he going to put a final parting shot at me? No, he didn't this time. Okay, now there's only one thermal ship, so as long as we don't let him detect us, we can approach from any angle we want. There's no risk of remote targeting. And looks like we got away with it that time. But again, I'm positioning to come in from ahead of him, and I should not be. I should be coming in from behind him, or from the side. We'll just let the surface period expire, and then we'll go in and we'll try and finish him off. As long as I don't make a colossal mistake here, we should be able to finish the target. I think I'm a little bit close there. I think I'm going to take some damage. Did I get away with it? Yep, I got away with it. Finally. little bit of consideration there from the Reavers. They've punished me enough, they're letting me finish them off. So yay, finished the target finally, but what a palaver. I made so many mistakes in that target, and I hope you've been taking notes and you remember them, and don't make them yourself, especially during the 6-day Christmas raid when you need all the points that you can get, because there's lots of prizes up for grabs. So please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you again in the next video. Have a good Christmas.